Hello and welcome to Snetterton in Norfolk. It's the halfway stage in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship and it's fever pitch as far as the championship battle is concerned. We'll start today's programme with the 1B group race and it's going to be Adam Craig versus Kevin Brent on the front row.
Behind Adam and Kevin, it's Jack Rawls and Clive Chisnall. Ross Lindsay lines up on row 3 with Oliver Robinson, then it's Bryn Griffiths and Ivan Leary on row 4. Anthony Hutchins and Simon Woods, followed by Bill Taylor and Jason Taylor. Charlie Rawls on row 7 with Paul Stevens. Andy Chauvel and Sam Moores from Adrian Burge and Andrew Barrett. Nick Riley and Luke Allen Buckley. Jonathan Fieldson and Sam Riley. Bruce Robinson and Russell Jones completing the grid here. First race at Snetterton, round 13 of the championship. 5-second board is shown. Adam Craig in white, Kevin Brent in the red car with the checkered motif on the bonnet. Clive Chisnall in the green and black 74. Quick start by Russ Lindsay from row 3. This is the second half of the field. Remember, the fields are split in BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship racing, and it's Adam Craig that leads down into riches for the first time. There in 22 is Andy Chauvel, first meeting for him. Decent qualifying position here, starting on row 8 alongside Sam Moores. Russell Jones at the moment bringing up the rear, but it's a good start by Adam Craig, the man from Stockton on Tees near Croft Circuit. It's been up in the A group quite a few times so far this year. We're on board with Kevin Brent. The car in second place is Jack Rawls, who's moved up into second from third. So Jack looking to bag another podium. Had a B1 win at Alton Park in the last round, you might remember. And just look at this great racing that we get from these cars. Can't think of too many other championships where the entry has to be split as it does with the Mazdas, and the BRSCC, hats off to them for a very innovative format. As we look at the 74 car trying to make progress there, Clive Chisnall seems to have dropped back a little bit, Clive, from his start. Immediately behind him, the 101 car of Simon Woods, the man from Sutton in Surrey. There he is, the fluorescent car coming out of Williams and about to start the sprint down the Bentley Straight. And he's followed by Ivan Leary. Ivan, a driver we're used to seeing fairly regularly up in the top half of the grid. Just to refresh your minds on the format of the way it works, the entries are big, so we're split into A and B groups. The A groups comprising the top half of the entry in qualifying, and basically the bottom 5 drivers from the A group will drop down into the next B group race. The top 5 from the B group race go into the A group for the next one. So really it's important for this B race for the drivers at the top to stay there, to finish in the top 5 and get a chance at moving on in race 2 of 3, because each round is a triple header. And of course, once you get out of the B group, if you had a bad qualifying, get out of the B group, make some progress in Group A and stay there for the remainder of the meeting and pick up some decent points. We've got a super race going on here between these 3 cars. So Jack Rawls, looking pretty racy at the moment, moves out of the slipstream, potentially leaving the door open going into riches, but Rawls has got to run. He knows how to negotiate this Snetterton circuit. I worked with Jack here a few years ago on some classic racing, and Rawls with a classic manoeuvre going round the outside, taking the lead from Kevin Brent. So Jack Rawls takes the lead, Kevin Brent second, Adam Craig in third as they make their way down in towards the hairpin. Well, all changing round again. Rawls now down to second. Kevin Brent started second on the grid. Back in front. Adam Craig's got the fastest lap thus far. So Craig, plenty of pace to be had. Look at this massive field as you look across onto the infield section, and this could go any way out of the top 3. It's Brent at the moment who looks defensive, then decides to go back to the outside of the track to maybe take a sweep in, but it's Rawls that's reclaimed the lead. Brent down to second. Adam Craig's going to try and come through as well. Jack Rawls though reclaims the lead. Super bit of racing, and that's why we cover both groups. We give everybody a fair share of the coverage. It's great for the drivers that are learning their way in this championship. Jack, as I mentioned before, a graduate of the Ginetta Junior Championship, races classic cars as well, and his older brother racing in this championship too. But learning his craft here in the Mazdas, and the family team very much enjoying themselves, and expect to see Jack. Hope he stays with it for the rest of the year, and also maybe next season. Now we've got driving standards going out. Now that's the ubiquitous track limits, and I don't think it's affecting any of the lead drivers. Andy Chauvel and Bryn Griffiths were being told are two of the drivers affected, as Jack Rawls looks around the outside line again, side by side with Kevin Brent, on board with Brent. Rawls in front. This is not what Kevin wants. Let's see what he does. They come down into the hairpin once again. These guys on the limit, and Brent chasing hard. Kevin Brent, another driver we're used to seeing him. By and large, he's usually in the top half of the grid, so a little bit unusual to see him in the B group. He was in the B group at Cadwell Park, but got himself back up into the A's. And you can see here he's really a little bit more under pressure at the moment from the 29 car. Adam Craig back in third place, but Jack Rawls being closed up again as we look across. This is Agostini corner. We've got a camera looking into Agostini, as well as this one looking across the track as they come out of Agostini, head up in towards Hamilton, which is about where they're going into now. Potential overtake there. It's interesting to see it from this angle, because the line into Hamilton, it looks sharper when you're looking at it from our infield camera, but it's actually a little bit more of a flowing corner. Rawls coming under pressure. Brent all over the back of him at the moment, so Brent has closed up the gap on the way through the complex. Bits and spots of rain on our camera there may make life a little bit tricky as we head into the second half of this race. Remember, they're all 20-minute races, so plenty of Mazda action over the course of the weekend. But it's Jack Rawls still there. Brent looking totally unfazed by Adam Craig in third place as Craig goes through. Outside line, inside into Brundle. Is he going to run wide? And is Brent going to get him back on the cutback? It doesn't look like it. Super move from Adam Craig, goes back into third. There was me saying that the 41 car, the driver of car 41, Kevin Brent, looked unfazed. But it's Adam Craig that goes through. Now, effectively, this could give Brent a little bit of a breather here, because it's now Craig's turn to try and close down on Jack Rawls out front. Jack thoroughly enjoying it. You can see the way he's chucking the car into some of the corners. He really is enjoying it and getting away out front. It's Craig still with the fastest lap. Nobody's improved on that. Here we come across the line. The last lap board is going out as well. 3 miles to go here around this 300 circuit. And it's Jack Rawls still there from Adam Craig. Kevin Brent has no pressure at all, and he's back in third place. Looks to the outside line. Can't quite get around Adam Craig. Craig here probably in the worst position. Wants to attack the race leader, but also he's got to defend that second position. Let's see what Brent can do. They're coming up now into the Wilson hairpin once again. The fact that second and third are squabbling could be very good news indeed for Jack Rawls, who's still out front. We rejoin. You can see the wipers working on the 41 car. So Kevin Brent, Kevin, one of the masters as well, the separate class for the older drivers, so he's actually top master in this one. Anthony Hutchins and Clive Chisnell, along with Oliver Robinson, dicing out. Got a few masters in this race as he looks down the inside line now of Adam Craig coming into Agostini. Kevin Brent had a look, didn't quite have enough momentum going into Agostini. This is the run up towards Hamilton, so really the second part of this infield. You can see Hamilton, it does look a little bit more of a turn in, and then you get up into Oggies, and Craig's left the door open. Adam Craig leaves the door open into Oggies, and Kevin Brent very coolly slots through into second position. Brent up into second, but it's still Jack Rawls out front. Adam Craig down into third. The rain, as you can see, is coming down a little bit heavier. This might affect things on this last lap, but it's Jack Rawls out front. Kevin Brent, who was second on the grid. Jack Rawls was third. And here we come. Here's the view down, looking right the way down the Bentley straight. Kevin Brent trying to close up on Jack Rawls. Surely Jack's going to hold on to it now. Look at the gap that he's got. He's got a car and a half's length maybe coming into the complex, into Bombhole now. The 261 car still there. Kevin Brent's made up one position on this last. I'll tell you what, Brent getting closer, or is he? No, they get side by side. It looks like Adam Craig wants to try it, of course, and get second place back. Jack Rawls runs a little bit wide. They're going into Coram trying to get the sweep, but it's Brent there still there in second place from Adam Craig, but Jack Rawls heading around Coram and looking for a second win in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship Class B. Rules it is that leads out of Murray's, but Kevin Brent, I think, is going to have a little run down, and he's coming out of the slipstream, and Brent is challenging for the lead, side by side. Who's it going to be? Brent's got his nose in front, just takes it. Kevin Brent shades it from Jack Rules, third to first on the last lap. What a race. Brent from Rules, Adam Craig, Anthony Hutchins and Clive Chisnell, they join Group A for race 2. Oliver Robinson next, then Ross Lindsay, Simon Woods, Paul Stevens, Adrian Burge in 10th place, then Bryn Griffiths and Jason Taylor. Charlie Rules from Andrew Barrett, Bill Taylor, Nick Riley, Luke Allen Buckley, Sam Moores, Andy Chauvel and Sam Riley in 20th. 21st goes to Bruce Robinson from Jonathan Fieldsend, and Russell Jones, non-finish, Ivan Leary.
Kevin, photo finishes don't happen every day. You're going to remember that one for a while.
I will. That was great fun. Really, really good fun. Fantastic battling between the three of us for the whole race there. And yeah, I just pipped at the end. It was just more luck than anything else. So, but it's fantastic. Yeah, really enjoyed that.
And you must have thought there was a chance right on the last lap, but to go from third position at Hamilton all the way to first place, that's one heck of a run.
Yeah, well, I was biding my time a little bit on that, but yeah, it just the last corner just happened to go right for me, and it didn't quite go right for and took him on the line. But yeah, bit of luck more than judgment, I think. But it's great racing, really good fun.
Welcome back to Snetterton. The A Groove about to get going. The top boys from qualifying, headed by Sam Smith from Will Blackwell Chambers, Josh Jackson and John Langridge on row 2, then Ollie Allwood and Patrick Lay, Stuart Simmons and Martin Tolley 8th, Charlie Burge 9th from Brian Trott, then Sam Bailey and Stephen Foden. Row 7, Patrick Collins and Paul Tucker from Clive Powers and Simon Orange. Row 9, Roger Shano and Max Norfolk, Richard Collins and Paul Maguire on row 10. Sam Gendy and Jack Wherry next from Teddy Clark and Matt Pickford. Championship leader Will Blackwell Chambers on the outside of the front row with Sam Smith, the man who is second in the standing, starting on pole position. 25 points separate them on drop scores. Sam Smith, the overall top point scorer, being punished by the drop score scenario at the moment, and Sam Smith gets away well. The field get away superbly. Smith in white and red. Will Blackwell Chambers, the blue and white car with the green trim, looking down the inside line. Josh Jackson is in third place, then followed by Martin Tolley, wide line by Patrick Lay. Oliver Allwood is next up, Brian Trott and Charlie Burge from row 5 looking racy as well. Here's the view from Martin Tolley, the 23, looking back at Patrick Lay with Ollie Allwood on the outside line of Stuart Simmons. Out of the hairpin for the first time, coming down into Palmer corner, the left-hander, so you'll see them start to turn in now. Here we go. Good onboards, plenty of cloud coverage here today. Conditions could possibly get tricky as the weekend goes on. This is the first of 3 races for the Group A boys. Remember, a non-finish will dump a driver down. Look at the lock-up coming down into Agostini there. And that, locking up, was Martin Tolley, who started in 8th position on the grid. Somebody having a look, Patrick Lay comes offline in the red and green car, looking at John Langridge, who's in the white car with the purple cage. Here's the outfield view of that. Ollie Allwood in white and blue chasing them. Allwood third in the championship on 702 points on drop scores. So Will Blackwell Chambers championship leader, Sam Smith second, Ollie Allwood next, then Josh Jackson, Martin Tolley and Paul Tucker complete the top 6 in the standings, coming here to Snetterton. Another frenetic 3-race programme. That's the word for Mazda racing. It's frenetic. 3 races for each driver. 6 Mazda MX-5 races over the course of a weekend that the BRSCC deal with. Will Blackwell Chambers, though, the championship leader out front again in the 43 car. Sam Smith is in second. Third place Josh Jackson. So some big hitters, metaphorically speaking, once again, of course, are at the sharp end here. Martin Tolley in 4th. It's John Langridge in 5th. We ride on board with John. Has a look down the inside line. Nothing quite doing there from the Sussex-based racer. John, in his first full season with the BRSCC Mazdas, had a couple of retirements, but he's been an ever-present so far. Comes from Bodiam in Sussex, incidentally. Has had race-winning experience in Group B. We've already seen one B race. That was in race 2 of the year at Brands Hatch, non-finished in the first race of the year at Brands, dropped him down to Group B and took advantage of that, won that race, and that built his confidence up for sure. He's running in 6th place at the moment. There he is in the immaculate car, white car, purple cage, green wheels, up ahead of Stuart Simmons and Ollie Allwood behind him. Really just showing how competitive it is. Ollie Allwood back in about 10th place at the moment. He's 3rd in the championship standings. He's right on board with John Langridge again, chasing the race leaders. You can see Will Blackwell-Chambers at the moment now back in 3rd place. Here's the view from Martin Tolley immediately in front of John Langridge, with Stuart Simmons immediately behind. You get a real good look. These onboard cameras actually give you a much different view. For one thing, they show obviously the speed of the cars, but they also show the different track configurations that MSV have here, Motor Circuit Vision have here at Snetterton. And Stuart Simmons pulls out. He's going to have a look here side by side as they go under the bridge and come down into Brundle, the left-hander. Stuart Simmons couldn't quite do it. Ollie Allwood is in behind. Will Blackwell-Chambers still in 3rd from Patrick Lay, Martin Tolley, John Langridge. It's a job to know where to look, isn't it, really, in this race? This is very, very close indeed, with Josh Jackson in black out front at the moment, started 3rd on the grid. So Jackson at the front from Sam Smith. You just saw a flash of black with red and white chasing, and then the blue car with Patrick Lay. The blue car of Will Blackwell-Chambers up ahead of Patrick Lay in 4th. Here's the view back again from Martin Tolley. Very close. Watch how close they get to the pit wall on the left of shot. Look how those zooming past the guys putting out the signals there. If you put a pit board out here, it's likely you could wind up hitting it. Did see someone getting hit last year. Battle for the lead, and Josh Jackson loses the lead. Back into the lead goes Sam Smith. Smith leads. Jackson down to 2nd. Jackson has a tight look up the inside line to try and see if there's going to be a gap, but Sam Smith holds on to it. 3rd position still the championship leader, Will Blackwell-Chambers. Will on 782 points. Sam Smith on 856 in terms of the gross points scored. Before the drop score scenario. Drop score's a big debate that people like to have. I think probably for this level it's a fair thing to do. It affords drivers the chance of a weekend off or a bad weekend if you're an ever-present. So probably a fair thing to do. And generally, if you look back at championships over the years, the top guys usually come out top. There will for sure be exceptions to that. But by and large, it's the top drivers that win the championship on the drop score scenario. Coming down into Agostini, Josh Jackson still there, Sam Smith in 2nd, Will Blackwell-Chambers 3rd, Martin Tolley still under pressure from John Langridge. Then it's Oliver Allwood, Stuart Simmons, 94 in the mix there, as well as Charlie Burge. This being a home race for him, coming from Haverhill, and Burge has been an ever-present bar one race in Group A. It was following a retirement in round 10 at Alton Park, which you may well remember. But he's been a very welcome addition to the championship, as we watch Patrick Lay now coming under pressure from Sam Bailey. That's for, I think, 9th position on track at the moment. So Patrick has dropped back a tad at the moment. He was very quick early on, qualified well, qualified in 6th, so lost a couple of positions there. One tiny mistake or problem on circuit can just drop you back, and indeed with these great big long trains of cars you can get hung out to dry and lose position, as John Langridge has a look again at Martin Tolley in 23 going into the complex. Stuart Simmons still there up ahead of Charlie Burge. Burge challenging him at the moment for 7th place, and you can see John Langridge and Ollie Allwood immediately ahead of them. Allwood still hanging in there. Got Brian Trott chasing this group as well. Leaders going through, and it's the 88 car that we focus on for the moment. Stuart Simmons, the driver who has been an ever-present in the A group. Driving standards flag going out. Guess what that's for? Yep, you guessed it, track limits. I'm not sure who it is that's picking it up at the moment. We're hearing possibly Paul Maguire in car number 20, as Sam Smith still heads this lead trio. Look at Will Blackwell-Chambers in 2nd place. Last year, incidentally, we had a treble for Tom Roche, who's moved on to the last lap, and it's Sam Smith still in front. Jackson in 2nd place. Then in 3rd place, Will Blackwell-Chambers. I would say from the closeness of the racing we've had so far here in race number 1, we're not going to see the likes of a hat-trick that we had from Tom Roche last year. He's moved up to Super Cup, racing in Ginettas as well. 2 race wins for him in the Ginetta Super Cup Championship so far this year. Just goes to show how much talent we've got in this field as Langridge goes through and tries to make the pass here. He's on the outside line though of Ollie Allwood. Is he going to get it done? That was a great move by John Langridge. Makes up a place. Here we are back with the race leaders though, and it's Sam Smith who is still out front. He's pulling away now. Blackwell Chambers up to second ahead of Josh Jackson. This is going to be absolutely critical for Will Blackwell Chambers, who had a little bit of a blip a couple of rounds ago, found his form again. And here in Mazda racing, you need to be up at the sharp end, if not right at the front, then near the front, right the way through the course of the season. This incredibly is the 13th race of the year. It's been a very busy championship already. Still got lots of great racing to go. Blackwell Chambers then up into second place. He's getting quicker as the race goes on, Will. He's the championship leader, taking fastest lap on lap 6, a 2-minute 21.6. They're averaging over 75 miles an hour. Clive Powell sadly in the green machine. Looks like he's going to drop back to Group B. He's going to be a front runner in Group B, I fancy, in race B2. But Sam Smith is the man who leads this one and will be looking to bag only a second win of the season. I was convinced Sam Smith had had more than that. I had to check the stats to see that. But Sam Smith, he's been very, very consistent over the course of the year, and he's going to bag a second win if he can hold on. It was close in the B race, remember, so it could still change round here. And Blackwell Chambers is winding it up as they go through Murray's for the last time. He gets a little bit of opposite lock there. That will have scrubbed off a little bit of speed. I don't think he's got the exit that he wanted out of Murray's. It is a run to the flag. He's not breaking ranks. He's going to settle for second place. Sam Smith the winner. Will Blackwell Chambers second. Josh Jackson is third. It's a train for fourth place. Martin Tolley gets it. Ollie Allwood, John Langridge next from Charlie Burge, Stuart Simmons in 8th place from Sam Bailey. Patrick Lay wraps up the top 10. Will Blackwell Chambers incidentally held on, the championship leader, for the fastest lap. 11th went to Brian Trott from Paul Tucker. Then it was Roger Shano from Simon Orange and Patrick Collins. Jack Wary from Teddy Clark and Max Norfolk. Matt Pickford 19th from Stephen Foden. He drops into Group B along with Sam Gendy, Richard Collins, Clive Powles and Paul Maguire.
Sam Smith, how about that? That is a perfect getaway to the weekend.
Yeah, I'll take that, mate. I will. I'll take it. Cracking to be back up here, particularly on the top step, let alone any step after Alton Park. But yeah, cracking effort from Michael Comberation. He's really pulled it back. We had a few issues at Alton, so yeah, amazing. Very happy.
And that's big points scored opposite Oliver Allwood, so a chance to close in on Will Blackwell Chambers for the lead now, maybe. Yeah,
absolutely. Fingers crossed. So if we can have another 2 wins, we'll be in good shape, won't we? So fingers crossed for that.
Will Blackwell Chambers, that was a tough race to come back through as well, because there were times when it was falling off, but you brought it back very, very quickly.
No, I made a solid set of errors in the middle of the race, so I only really calmed down until the end and managed to drive my way back through. Following these two is a hard ass. The drive they've got off the corners is absolutely unbelievable. But no, we managed to keep up, sneak it down the inside. Yeah, fairly happy with that one.
Race 2B, headed by pole position man Stephen Foden, with Sam Gendy alongside Richard Collins and Paul Maguire on row 2. Third row, Ollie Robinson and Russ Lindsay, Simon Woods and Paul Stevens next from Adrian Burge and Bryn Griffiths, Jason Taylor and Andy Barrett on row 6. Row 7, Philip Barrett and Clive Powles, Bill Taylor and Nick Riley on row 8. Row 9, Luke Allen Buckley and Sam Moores, Andy Chauvel and Sam Riley next from Bruce Robinson and Jonathan Fieldsend, Russell Jones and Ivan Leary completing the grid. So the front 5 drivers looking to get back into Group A for race 3A. This is race 2B, second half of the group. Lights are on. And round 14B is underway. Good start from the outside of the front row by Sam Gendy. Remember, Sam had a fastest lap in round 3 at Brands Hatch, so we know he's got the pace as they go down into Riches. In fact, slots into second place because Paul Maguire is looking round the outside line. Richard Collins in the mix as well. Massive field. This is only half the entry, remember. 132, Jason Taylor in the mix. 44, the yellow car of Bill Taylor is there as well, following up from 15th place in the first B race, but they're side by side coming out of the hairpin for the first time. We pick up on Ollie Robinson in 19, up ahead of Paul Stevens. Right in the mix as well there is the green car of Clive Powles. Expect to see Clive working his way up the order, and you'd expect... Oh, he's got off! Powles is off! The cars everywhere on the infield. And sadly off is the older brother of the podium finisher, the man who's just pipped for the win in race number 1. That's Charlie Rawls. His brother Jack, of course, making it up into the A group. But now look at the fight back by Clive Powles. Gets past Adrian Burge. Then Bryn Griffiths on the outside line. So massive sort out happening. Look how close. At 4 wide heading down into Hamilton. So this one could prove to be a wee bit of a lottery. Bruce Robinson, another local driver, comes from Haverhill, is in the mix as well. Bruce's second meeting of the season. He's got the inside line, heading down now in towards Williams Corner. So Robinson, second of the Golf coloured cars that are there. Bryn Griffiths next up, then 22 Andy Chauvel, 19th in Group B in race number 1 for Andy. I've got to say the top positions looking a lot more settled because they've gone through Brundle. This is the view again, looking down the Bentley Straight, nearly said Wellington Straight there, not at Silverstone. That was event 3 of the year, round 7, 8, 9 of the championship. But good close racing going on here with Bruce Robinson holding sway at the moment over Sam Moores. Good to welcome Sam here. And he's piling the pressure on, and wide line into Coram. On to the last lap. It's Paul Maguire out front now from Stephen Foden. Maguire with the fastest lap, which he's just set, incidentally. So if he carries that momentum forward, he'll build on the lead, which isn't a huge lead at the moment, over Stephen Foden. So at the moment, those two looking like they're going to make it up into Group A for race 3 of the weekend. Sam Gendy in blue is back in 3rd place. The top Masters driver, Richard Collins, also looks like he's going to join the group, but 77 Stephen Foden trying to hunt down the race lead. The man from Altrincham, ever present so far this season. It's been up in the A group a couple of times. The 77 car trying to close down, but Paul Maguire looking very, very stable now. A wild moment at the hairpin on lap number 1. But it's been good for him, and fastest lap, a 2-minute 24.067 seconds, and he speeds his way down the Bentley Straight looking towards Brundle. Here's the view of the top 4, top 3. Well, it is top 4 now because the 4th place car, Richard Collins in black, coming into view. Clive Powles has made a great recovery in the green number 18 car, and he is on the verge of getting through into the top 5, which means promotion into the A group for race 3 here at Snetterton. But Paul Maguire clear at the moment, 3 or 4 lengths, realistically not under any pressure at the moment. We've seen some very close finishes so far, but I don't think this one is going to be the race to the flag that we've seen in the previous 2 races. So Maguire negotiates Murray's onto the centre straight, and the checkered flag will be within his sights. Maguire here is going to take it from Stephen Foden. Watch for the checker, and look at the gap between these two. Paul Maguire wins, Stephen Foden in 2nd. Sam Gendy is going to take 3rd place, massive gap back. 4th place going to Richard Collins from Clive Powles and Russ Lindsay. Ollie Robinson next from Bill Taylor and Adrian Burge. Ivan Leary completes the top 10 from Bryn Griffiths and Paul Stevens. Andy Chauvel 13th from Jason Taylor and Charlie Rawls. Luke Allen Buckley next from Sam Moores and Andrew Barrett. Jonathan Fields then 19th from Bruce Robinson. Sam Riley completing the finishers, classified finishers in 21st. Russell Jones next up from Nick Riley and Simon Woods.
Paul Maguire, I tell you what, you only need to lead one lap and that's the last one.
Oh, that's amazing. After yesterday, it's just a totally different turnaround. We got a scrap tyre on the front left. We got excluded yesterday just because we couldn't brake quick enough before the car in front. And yeah, amazing, really good.
Kevin Brent on pole position with Clive Chisnell alongside Matt Pickford and John Langridge completing row 2. Patrick Lay and Russ Lindsay row 3 with Oliver Robinson and Bill Taylor. Adrian Burge on row 5 with Ivan Leary. Bryn Griffiths and Paul Stevens row 6. From row 7 Andy Chauvel, Jason Taylor, Charlie Rawls and Luke Allen Buckley row 8. Row 9 Sam Moores, Andrew Barrett, Jonathan Fieldsend and Bruce Robinson next, from Sam Riley and Russell Jones, Nick Riley and Simon Woods completing the grid. Round 15B about to get underway here at Snetterton, and it's Kevin Brent in red with the checkers. Matt Pickford makes a pretty good start of it from row 2. Clive Chisnell, I think, has dropped a little bit, the green and black fronted car, but coming through it's Matt Pickford on the outside line. John Langridge challenging Patrick Lay for 3rd position as they go through Riches for the first time. Paul Stevens in 24 in the mix as well. Fine sight. I never ever tire of watching these Mazda MX-5 starts with so many cars in fine fettle as well going through Riches. Outside line there for Clive Chisnell, who's lost a lot of ground. Bill Taylor up and challenging him now. So Clive Chisnell from the front row of the grid, not the happiest of starts. Work to do if the car will behave itself. But out front, it's Matt Pickford. John Langridge in 3rd, looking good in white. He's going to look at the inside line here of Kevin Brent coming down into Agostini. Clean side-by-side racing from the pair, and a great clean move by John Langridge from 4th on the grid, goes up into 2nd place. Side-by-side, and an outside line there for Andrew Barrett in car number 90. You can see the field having a lot of sorting out to do. Here's the view from Kevin Brent, who's down in 3rd. John Langridge challenging for the lead, goes wide and then tucks back in, so going for the cutback here on Matt Pickford. It's the row 2 runners that are showing the rest of the field the early pace in the final race of the weekend for Group B. Patrick Lay is back in 4th position at the moment, the red and green car, as Langridge challenging. In fact, Patrick Lay challenging for 3rd place. Great view down the Bentley straight. We pick up on Clive Chisnell up ahead of Paul Stevens, and coming into the mix as well is Jason Taylor in 1-3-2. John Langridge is through. John Langridge goes into the lead. So the man who won race 2 of the Brands Hatch on for his 2nd win of the season, Bill Taylor up ahead of Adrian Burge, and you can see it's not the easiest of conditions out there, but Taylor having got through for the moment ahead of Burge. So tricky conditions for these rear-wheel drive cars, and a spin for Taylor, so Burge gets back in front of him. Bill Taylor spins it around, gyration as well for Charlie Rawls in 26. Goodness me, it is catching a few of the drivers out for sure. There in 25 is Ivan Leary, looking to try and make progress. So remember, with race 3B, this doesn't carry through to the next meeting. If you finish in the top 5, then that's it for this meeting, as we pick up again car number 19 Oliver Robinson up ahead of Paul Stevens. Onto the last lap, John Langridge has pulled clear. It's Patrick Lay with the fastest lap. It was on lap 2 and it was dry, but Langridge is going to wrap things up here with a win. Patrick Lay not that far behind, 2nd or so down on John Langridge at the moment. So Langridge looking for his 2nd win. He's just going to, we saw him up towards the sharp end, John, in race number 1 where he finished in 6th. What a change of fortunes. Retirement in race 2A, and then obviously down into the B group for race 3. But it's going to be a win here. Now, the way the points work is that if there are 22 finishers in the equivalent Group A race, 1st position in Group B equals 23rd position, and that's what the championship points go at. But we get to see different drivers taking race wins, which is always great to see. So it's the best of all worlds in this championship. I think they're closing up on Russell Jones in the 119 car, Russell in the yellow machine, but it's going to be John Langridge who will take the 3rd Group B win of the weekend from Patrick Lay. with Paul Stevens, who was in second place earlier on. And there is Russell Jones going through, but it's John Langridge that takes the win. Patrick Lay in second position. Paul Stevens grabs third. Simon Woods will finish fourth from Adrian Burge. Then following Adrian, Russ Lindsay from Ivan Leary. Andy Chauvel in 8th from Jason Taylor and Bill Taylor in 10th. The 44 yellow car recovering well. Charlie Rules next, he recovered well for 11th. Ollie Robinson in 12th from Luke Allen Buckley and Sam Moore. Sam Riley 15th from Andrew Barrett and Jonathan Fields, and Russell Jones completing the finishers in 18th place. Patrick Lay it was, you may have seen, who got the fastest lap.
John Langridge, fantastic victory. That was a really, really tough race, particularly in the closing stages.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be tough even if it had stayed dry, because Patrick's been quick all weekend and we had a bit of a fight while it was dry. And yeah, I saw that cloud coming and yeah, it let go.
Welcome back to Snetterton, round 14 for Group A about to get underway. Headed on the installation lap by Sam Smith, who starts on pole position. Will Blackwell Chambers alongside, then Josh Jackson and Martin Tolley, row 2. Third row, Ollie Allwood and John Langridge. Charlie Burge and Stuart Simmons complete row 4. Row 5, Sam Bailey and Patrick Lay. Brian Trott, Paul Tucker on row 6. Row 7, Roger Shano with Simon Orange. Patrick Collins on row 8 with Jack Wary. Teddy Clark and Max Norfolk, row 9. Then it's Matt Pickford and Kevin Brent. Jack Rawls, Adam Craig, Anthony Hutchins and Clive Chisel. The last 5 runners, of course, moving up from Group B. Second race of the weekend for the top half of the grid is underway. We're on board with Teddy Clark, his first meeting by my reckoning in Group A. The Colchester man enjoying this weekend. He's side by side from row 9 with Max Norfolk. You'll see the yellow, not the yellow minion, but the yellow car trying to come into shot. That's Max Norfolk in 56. Teddy Clark makes a good job around the first corner, looking to go a little bit wider to gain some momentum, but Max Norfolk making progress. Josh Jackson making progress too, and he's up into second place side by side as they come out of Wilson down into Palmer. This is the view from Martin Tolley. John Langridge immediately in front. The white and blue car with the green trim is Will Blackwell Chambers, who's trying to get back up into second place. This is the run down on the infield section into Agostini, potential passing place. We've seen some manoeuvres down here already. So Stuart Simmons has started well. I was questioning myself there, but Stuart Simmons in the 88 car has come up from 8th place on the grid. So a fine start for him as we ride on board with John Langridge once again. Already got one Group B race under his belt, fastest lap in Group B as well, which was in the second race here at Brands Hatch. I think I mentioned that in race number 1. But John, as you can see now, very much a front runner in the championship, getting arms full of lock there and dealing with it and chasing championship leader Will Blackwell Chambers, who is in third place. Joshua Jackson chasing the race leader Sam Smith, who's looking to make it a double. There in 23 is Martin Tolley ahead of Oliver Allwood. Brian Trott is in behind. Last year, as I started to allude to in race number 1A, it was a hat-trick for Tom Roche, and the drivers that took podiums that are still with us, Ollie Allwood took 3 podiums in fact last year. Took second in races 1 and 3 and a third place in race 2. So Ollie Allwood may be the man we might have expected to have brought the form forward. He certainly had a good point score in race number 1. He's going to be looking for that. It is about getting 3 good point scores up at the sharp end. But Sam Smith looking, of course, to make it a double and emulate Tom Roche. Nobody is going to emulate Tom Roche in terms of the number of wins they had this year, because they've been shared around a little bit more this season than they were last year. And that's taking nothing away from the drivers. The championship as a whole, very, very competitive. Down to Agostini for the last time. Sam Smith looks like he could make it a double. He's in front of Josh Jackson. Will Blackwell Chambers has developed something of a break over Ollie Allwood, who's going to, by the look of it, grab 4th position and more valuable points. But Sam Smith is closing in now on Will Blackwell Chambers, the championship leader, who's back, points-wise closing up, that is. He's back in 3rd place. So it's going to be a fascinating run into the end of the season. Remember, the next event is on Anglesey, one of my favourite racetracks in the UK. So picturesque and such a challenge on the coastal circuit there. Differs so much, twists and turns, very much like Snetterton, but you've got the undulations as well on Anglesey, and it just adds to the variety of circuits we've raced on this year. Brands Hatch, Cadwell Park, Silverstone, Alton Park here at Snet as well on the 300 circuit. Sam Smith out front. Will Blackwell Chambers has got the fastest lap again. That was on the anti-penultimate lap, a 2 minutes 21.6, but it's going to be Sam Smith who is looking to make it a double here, and it will gift him pole position. No, not gift, earn. It earns him pole position for race number 3 of the weekend. Josh Jackson coming under pressure from Will Blackwell Chambers, who wants to get up into P2 and get some very, very useful additional points for that. But look at the style of Sam Smith through Coram for the last time into Murray's. He's inch perfect, quick out of the Murray's corner for the last time and goes along centre straight, and he's going to make it 2 out of 2 here at Snetterton. Sam Smith it is that takes the checker. Josh Jackson second from Will Blackwell Chambers and Ollie Allwood. Stuart Simmons next from Martin Tolley. Then Sam Bailey and Charlie Birch. Brian Trott 9th from Roger Shano completing the top 10. Paul Tucker 11th from Patrick Collins. Then Max Norfolk from Jack Rawls and Simon Orange. Jack Wary ahead of Adam Craig, Teddy Clark and Anthony Hutchins. Down into B go Kevin Brent, Clive Chisnall, Matt Pickford, John Langridge and Patrick Lay, the latter two who did not finish.
Smithy, this is becoming a bit of a habit now at exactly the right moment in the championship season too.
Absolutely, yeah. I couldn't be more happy, mate. It's just all come together this weekend. We've ironed out a few issues. Had a really off weekend at Alton Park. Seems to have ironed them out. Got to the bottom of it, and yeah, all credit to Michael Comber for. We came in Monday, did a lot of testing, a lot of setup work with the new tyre, and it's really paid off. So all credit to him, really. I'm just the one peddling it around.
The final race of the weekend sees Sam Smith again on pole position from Josh Jackson, Will Blackwell Chambers and Ollie Allwood row 2. Stuart Simmons and Martin Tolley row 3. Row 4 Sam Bailey and Charlie Birch. Then it's Brian Trott and Roger Shano, Paul Tucker and Patrick Collins on row 6. Row 7 Max Norfolk and Jack Rawls, Simon Orange and Jack Wary ahead of Adam Craig and Teddy Clark. Then it's Anthony Hutchins and Paul Maguire, Stephen Foden and Sam Gendy next up from Richard Collins and Clive Powles, who complete the grid. Lights on for the last race of the weekend. Away we go. Who is going to deny Samuel Smith a hat-trick of wins? We are on board with Martin Tolley and Stuart Simmons looking to the outside line. So too is Brian Trott in 83, who switched to the outside. Charlie Birch in the red 94 is there as well, but it's a good start. A little bit of just trying to see, is that a break in the clouds? It's fairly light. We've had some tricky conditions for the Group B runners already, of course, but it's Sam Smith who's out front. Josh Jackson second. Will Blackwell Chambers is there in third place. Sam Bailey making ground up as well in the 107, so the first lap sort out begins to happen as they head down from the hairpin into Palmer. Out of Palmer come the leaders and head down the curve in towards Agostini, and Sam Smith looking to bag another win. Will Blackwell Chambers has had pace all weekend. He's been setting fastest laps and he has 2 out of 2 so far, and it'd be interesting to see whether he could grab a third one here. There's Jack Rawls, the man who was at the front end of things in race 1B in the 261 car, the black car with the blue stripes in the mix, and he's made very good progress, Jack, up through the field, maintained his Group A position through into race number 3 and engaged in battle there with Paul Tucker, who's been an ever-present in Group A all the way through the season. And Tucker, in actual fact, of course, 6th position in the championship coming into this meeting. Martin Tolley immediately ahead of him in the championship standings on 540. Josh Jackson is 4th, and he's going to improve on that, I think, this weekend over Ollie Allwood. So we'll have to do a quick tot-up at the end, but it's a very complicated championship with so many cars racing, of course, across the 2 groups. Sam Smith, though, the race leader. Jackson second. Blackwell Chambers next. Ollie Allwood is running well there in the 63 car. Allwood with 5th place in race 1, 4th position race 2, 4th again here. Stuart Simmons is next, and then Brian Trott, the man from Fleet in Hampshire, who's steadily improved. He had 11th in race 1, 9th in race number 2. He's in 5th position, 6th position here at the moment. So Brian Trott's been getting to grips with things here and steadily improving, scoring some useful points, and he's got Stuart Simmons in the Club 100 red and white car immediately in front of him. We'll see whether Brian can make the move and come through. He started side by side with 105 Roger Shano. Ollie Allwood though, and contact! Ollie Allwood with the 23 car, and off goes Martin Tolley, the Solihull racer. Back end around once he's on the grass. Now is the car damaged? Will he recover? Martin Tolley looks like he's going to recover. Brian Trott here from Ollie Allwood, then Stuart Simmons, then it's Roger Shano, the Cheltenham-based racer. Well, on to the last lap. This has been a race. It's Sam Smith still out front. Ollie Allwood and Brian Trott very much engaged in battle. Then we've got Charlie Burge in the red 94. Sam Smith, though, is going to make it a hat-trick. He's going to emulate Tom Roche. I honestly didn't think, and I dug myself a pit there in race number 1, saying I don't think anyone's going to take a hat-trick like Tom Roche did. And apologies to Sam Smith, because he's driven superbly. Here he is on his way to a hat-trick. It's Will Blackwell-Chambers, though, up into second, and Will's got fastest lap again. Hat-trick of wins in the offing for Smith, a hat-trick of fastest laps for Blackwell-Chambers. But it's Smith that heads them out of Murray's, down the straight for the last time. Smith takes the win from Will Blackwell-Chambers. Josh Jackson next from Ollie Allwood, and then Brian Trott, Stuart Simmons, Roger Shano, Charlie Burge, Jack Werry and Paul Tucker completing the top 10. 11th was Paul Maguire from Clive Powell and Patrick Collins. Sam Gendy next from Stephen Foden and Simon Orange. Jack Rawls 17th from Martin Tolley and Sam Bailey. Richard Collins in 20th from Max Norfolk, Teddy Clark and Adam Craig completing the finishers for round 15A. Championship standings leaving Snet looks like this. Will Blackwell-Chambers still ahead of Sam Smith from Ollie Allwood. Josh Jackson 4th from Martin Tolley. Brian Trott up into 6th ahead of Charlie Burge, Stuart Simmons, Paul Tucker and Patrick Lay in 10th.
Sam Smith, well, how about that? That doesn't happen very often. 3 out of 3.
No, I know. Ecstatic, mate. Can't thank the team enough. They've done a cracking job, and yeah, managed to pull 3 out of the bag somehow. So mega happy.
And that's definitely made the championship battle interesting as we head to Anglesey.
Yeah, I'm trying not to focus on it too much for now. Just try and keep winning the races, but it looks like I'll have to turn up at Anglesey after all, doesn't it? But, yeah, 10 out of 10 to Willie. He was hot on my heels the whole race. One mistake, and if he was on me, he's good in mega in these conditions. So if he was on my bumper, I'd have been a little bit twitchy, let's say. But yeah, managed to keep that gap, and yeah, cracking result, 3 out of 3.